This is Valley News Live at 4.
And we begin with breaking news this afternoon. A jury has found former West Fargo teacher Ronald Thompson guilty of luring a minor for sex. It happened back in October of 2019. It took the jury 4 hours to reach its verdict. Thompson sent explicit messages to someone he believed was a 14-year-old girl. It was an undercover officer. Thompson's attorney, Jeff Bradall, says his client may be immoral, but did not do anything criminal because Thompson never made an attempt to meet in person with the girl for sexual relations. Thompson now faces up to 10 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. We have new information this afternoon from that school bus crash yesterday. One of the injured Ada Borup West students suffered an injury to their spine. Yesterday, we were the first to tell you about the crash at the intersection of County Road 70 and 103 in Clay County. 4 students overall were injured, along with the driver of a pickup truck. Investigators believe that the driver of that pickup failed to yield, causing the crash. No word if charges will be filed. A motorcycle benefit ride is tomorrow for a 10-year-old girl named Kaylee Acevedo. She was hit by a semi in Crookston last week. This benefit will start at 11 a.m. in the Crookston's Walmart parking lot. It's a ride and it's going to go through Fertile and Gentilly, Minnesota, and it's going to end with a barbecue at Highland Park in Crookston. Any type of vehicle is welcome. It'll cost you $20 per motorcycle or car. It was a little unnerving to see a thin layer of ice on my back patio this morning. Certainly a sign of what's to come. Our chief meteorologist, as you can see, is here to explain. Hutch?
Mike, thanks so much. We do have that first alert weather day issued for your Saturday, mainly for the morning, and a freeze is going to be likely for many. A frost is going to be widespread as we get prepared. Here's some things you can do to make sure that you're ready for temperatures this cold. If you have some plants outside or maybe some tomatoes that are still on the vine out there, you may want to cover them or just bring some of those potted plants in to protect them, because we're going to have some nice weather after this, but it's just a little hitch in the giddy up here as we move along. You may want to disconnect those garden hoses as well as you go through the night, just for peace of mind. As I'm not expecting super cold temperatures to be prolonged, but it could be enough to cause some problems. So to avoid that, do that. Also, find that frost scraper. That drive in the morning could have a little frost gracing your windshield of your car. Freeze warning for all the counties you see in purple, most of our area right now. Here's what you need to know for tonight. Friday night football. We're going to have some sprinkles working their way through northwest Minnesota. Clearing going on out to the west. So that's where the cold is going to move in from. That clearing trend, and the rain showers continue to exit out very quickly this evening. So bring the umbrella to the game and the coat, because temperatures with the setting sun will dip into the low 40s overnight. We'll be in the low 30s in many places. And again, widespread frost. Hour by hour details, Mike, on a warming trend. I'll have those in a minute.
Feeling better already.
Yes.
Thanks. Registered sex offender Daniel Grinder is now facing serious charges after police say he walked into a random home and wouldn't leave earlier this week. Investigators were called to the 1500 block of 10th Street North. The person inside that home says they were in the bathroom when she heard someone in the kitchen. The woman then went to the kitchen to find Grinder playing with her dogs. Authorities say he told the woman he wanted to talk to her, but she told him to get out. Grinder eventually left, and police later found a handgun in the window well of the home. He was eventually arrested in the 1400 block of North University for 2 felony trespass and felon in possession of a firearm charges. Zimmerman Elementary School in Wahpeton is getting a new roof. The district found mold in kindergarten classrooms at the start of this school year. Superintendent Rick Jacobson said that work would start within the next week. The project comes with a $1.7 million price tag. Zimmerman says that Zimmerman students are learning that this year in the Wahpeton Elementary School, and Superintendent Jacobson said that Zimmerman Elementary would be open for school next August. Minnesota's DNR is asking late season boaters to play it safe, and for good reason. The state is in the midst of the deadliest boating season in 16 years. 17 people lost their lives in boating related drownings and crashes. It's the highest number since 2005. Of the 17 people who died, 16 were not known to be wearing life jackets when they went into the water. An FDA committee has wrapped up a hearing looking into the need for booster shots for people who receive the one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Skylar Henry has more details from outside the FDA in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Dr. Chatterjee voted yes. An independent FDA advisory committee voted to authorize a booster dose for people 18 and older with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine at least 2 months after the initial shot.
What we're seeing is that this is a group with overall lower efficacy than we have seen with the mRNA vaccine. So there is some urgency here.
The committee voted to approve the booster dose in spite of concerns about the trial data Johnson & Johnson presented, citing the reduced effectiveness of the vaccine over time.
There could be as many as close to 5 million people who are at risk of hospitalization based on the CDC study. Again, this is still a public health imperative.
FDA officials say the agency may consider taking action at some point to allow Johnson & Johnson recipients to receive a booster shot from either Moderna or Pfizer's vaccines instead of a second J&J shot.
In the real world, all these kind of combinations or extra boosters are already happening. So I think it's a matter of some urgency.
A new study found people with the J&J vaccine were better off getting a booster from either Pfizer or Moderna, but the study has not yet been peer-reviewed.
We don't know from these short-term studies what the longer-term effect of mix and match will be, and we just don't have those data.
The news comes as the Biden administration announced that fully vaccinated international travelers can cross the border into the U.S. beginning November 8th. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
Full authorization for booster shots for Johnson & Johnson as well as the Moderna vaccine could come as early as next week after the CDC takes it up for consideration. The United States plans to open its borders once again to vaccinated international travelers on November 8th. That according to a White House spokesperson. The borders into the U.S. and Mexico have been essentially shut down for non-essential travel for about a year and a half. News of the upcoming reopening is especially good for business owners near border crossings that have seen sales plummet due to the restrictive travel measure brought on by the pandemic. Former President Bill Clinton remained hospitalized today at the University of California Irvine Medical Center in Orange after being admitted earlier in the week. The 75-year-old Clinton is in the ICU with a urinary tract infection that spread to his bloodstream. The former president was in Southern California for some Clinton Foundation events when he became ill Tuesday. Video taken in the early part of this morning shows former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton leaving UCI Medical Center escorted by several Secret Service agents. President Biden back on the road pushing his social spending plan, which remains in limbo in Congress. Today he visited a child care center in Connecticut to talk about investing in child care and early ed. Natalie Brand has the very latest.
After stopping by the playground at a child development center in Hartford, Connecticut, President Biden once again pushed for his social spending plan stalled in Congress.
No middle-class family will pay more than 7% of their income on child care.
The Democratic Build Back Better Act is still under negotiation, but the president hopes it will include universal pre-K, an extension of the child tax credit, and new investments in child care and the workforce.
We have a severe lack of infant toddler care already.
Linda Smith, the director of the Early Childhood Initiative at the Bipartisan Policy Center, says their research estimates on average nearly a third of children who potentially need care lack access to it. She says it's not only a matter of cost for parents, but a lack of child care facilities and workers.
We need an investment in both what we call the supply of child care in this country, as well as a parent's ability to pay for it.
The White House and congressional Democrats continue to negotiate behind the scenes. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi acknowledged this week that the bill will have to be cut down in size, but said emphasis will remain on children and moms.
Whatever we do, we'll make decisions that will continue to be transformative about women in the workplace.
Data shows that women are leaving their jobs at a faster pace than men, a gender gap that's widened during the pandemic.
In our most recent survey of rural parents, over 80% of parents said one of the reasons they're not going to work is because of childcare.
And Smith also says she believes to fix the problem, Congress needs to pay attention to the gap of affordability and parents and better pay for those caring for children. The next time you go to a Vikings game at home, keep an eye out for what looks like snow. Just before the Vikings players take the field at U.S. Bank Stadium, little pieces of white stuff fall from above. Fake snow is the newest part of the Vikings pregame show. It's water mixed with a plant-based soluble soap solution. It's a proprietary recipe that shot out of 42 fans over the stadium. The Vikings entertainment team came up with this idea after the NFL banned fireworks displays inside stadiums in 2019. Some exciting news to tell you this afternoon regarding our signal. Today, the Federal Communications Commission granted Valley News Live the ability to crank up the power on our transmission. Now, it means we're operating at double the power in an effort to better broadcast to you. The TikTok app has been downloaded over 1.5 billion times worldwide. It reaches 123 million people alone in the U.S. Later on Valley News Live at 4, how old should kids be before they get involved?
And in weather, get ready. Our temperatures are going down. How low will they go? I'll have hour-by-hour details on that, and we'll talk about warmer weather around the corner. Tomorrow is a first alert weather day for freezing temperatures. Details next.